So today is May 12th of 2013, and I've been setting this thing up for so long, how to use these nanostations. And I just set it up, so I figured let me give some instructions to myself, but also to the viewers that are trying to do something that what I'm doing. Now it took me like 12 hours now, seriously, 12 working hours to set this up. I'm not an administrator, not a networking, but let's get started. Here's my whole thing, okay? So I want to extend my range wirelessly to a place that's about 200 feet away from me, a working shack. So this is my home right over here. I have the internet coming in. The internet goes to a modem that's in between here that's not shown. Then the modem is connected to a router. The internet I have is Comcast, so it's cable modem, cable internet. It goes to a router. A router is then connected to my nanostation unit. The first one, I have two nanostation units, nanostation M2. And this router, what it's going to do is also shoot Wi-Fi signals to give wireless connections wireless devices their own connections over here in the first house. But at the same time, it's going to give this nanostation wireless internet, which then the wireless nanostation will talk to the second nanostation that's located about 200 feet away. The second nanostation is now, here's the tricky part, it will be connected to a router. This is a better picture. To a router right over here. The router will now have either wired devices running to it, or the router will wirelessly speak to wireless devices in this location. So that's what we're doing, folks. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So let us go ahead and I'll show you how to set things up. First of all, this is something that you can probably take a look in the videos on YouTube, but if you want to connect your nanostations, you have to set a static IP on your computer. Do that by going to, well, you just saw what I did, right? Settings, network connections, right click on LAN, local area network, and right click on this, Internet Protocol version 4. What you have to make it is a 192.168.1, and the last number can be anything. It could be 20, it could be 25, doesn't matter. And this is going to be 255, 255, 255.0. Once you've done this, click OK. All right, you'll click OK, it'll register. Now you can connect your nanostation Ethernet cable to your computer, and what you're going to do is, if your nanostation is set to a default, like if it's just from the shop, you are going to type in 192.168.1.20 and you will get to the main menu, okay? Since I already changed my nanostation IPs, I will not do this. Okay, so let's see what I did. I kind of organized it a little bit. First thing, what you want to do is let's take a look at the router that we have at home. Okay, that's connected to the internet. You probably already have this working, right? This router. So let's go ahead and access that. What you can do is just plug in the Ethernet. Well, if you look at your router and you got your computer nearby, go ahead and plug the Ethernet somewhere over here in one of these ports, not the WAN port, not the internet port, but one of these LAN ports, and connect it to your computer. Now, I'm not sure what your router address number is. It could be 192.168.1.1. It could be 0.1. Just take a look at Google what your default router IP address is. Once you got that typed in, mine is 0.1.1. So I have a Netgear. Okay, so once I have this Netgear router, right, what I'm going to do is go ahead and go into LAN setup. And when I click that, I see that my router IP is 192.168.1.1. Now, you don't really have to change that. If it's something similar to that, you can just leave that alone. But you have an option to change it. Okay, use router as DHCP server. That's set okay. And mainly, I'm just going through all these windows for my own benefit, so that if I screw this up in the future, I can put it back. Okay, so we know our router number. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our nanostation address. So remember what I told you. type in that number. Now, yours is 0.1.20, but I already changed mine, okay? I changed it 0.1, 0.2. Why did I do that? Well, it makes it easier for you to communicate. Router is 192.168.1.1. Nanostation is the same thing except it's 0.2. The second nanostation is 0.3. And my router has to be totally different, and I'll explain that, okay? But this way, at least I know how they're organized. So I'm going to go there. And I'm going to type in the default username and password, UBNT. Let's copy that. Paste it. So here's how I set up this Nanostation, okay? This one that's going to be giving out the signal from my router. Okay, first of all, go in here and make sure AirMax is disabled. Disable it. Sorry. Disable it and click change. Okay, go back to main. Now, you'll see a lot of things here. Now, what you're going to do is go to wireless. What you're going to want to do is set the wireless mode to access point and check this WDS to enable. Now it's going to ask you what type of SSID do you want to transmit? What's the name of your network that you want it to be called? Put any name down over here that's recognizable. Okay, this is very important. Make sure you put your channel width to 20 megahertz. It's by default 40 and it's not going to work. 40 only works with Ubiquiti products, which is pretty awesome if you use their products, but if you don't have it, it won't work. So put it as 20. You can pretty much leave this as any. You can put that auto or you can select the frequency. That's up to you. Everything else you're just going to have to check out later. Some of the stuff I admit that I might not know too much about. Do not put wireless security in the beginning. Let's set everything up first, and then when it works, you can put the wireless security. Go to network. Okay. Now network mode, you're going to select bridge. Remember, we're working with this one. Bridge. Configuration mode, simple. Now, this is where the cool stuff happens. What you're going to do is, do yourself a favor, just put it as static, okay? You're going to do this manually. IP address. It's asking you what IP address do you want this Nanostation to have. Instead of .1.20, as in the beginning, I put 192.168.1.2. See, I'm accessing it right over here. Now, netmask mask, leave it as this. Now, gateway IP, what the heck is that? Well, what that is, apparently, is the IP address of the router that's getting the internet connection. That's what you're going to put for gateway IP. So gateway IP is like, hey, where am I getting this internet information from? That's what Nanostation is asking. So I'm telling it, you're going to get the internet information from 192.168.1.1. Bam, and click change. Once you click change, it'll ask you test. I'll show you. Apply these changes. Just click apply. And when you relog in, once you relog into this, right? Once it applies it, you will not relog in as 1.20. You will relog in as this new IP address. So you're going to type in 0.2. Bam, and it should work. Okay, you got that set up. It should, now you can actually test it. Go ahead and look at your wireless. I don't know what happened to my wireless settings here. There we go. Remember, there's the wireless, and you should see the wireless here. If you double click on it on any computer that's pointed relatively at the antenna, it should pick it up. So go ahead and test it, okay? It should work. It's working. Let's set up the second Nanostation. So now it's sending signal. Now what we want to do is receive the signal. Now we're working on this one. So let's go ahead and put our Ethernet port from that second Nanostation, plug it in to the second Nanostation, and go into settings. It's going to be, again, default 0.20, right? Since you're doing it by Ethernet port to your computer. Now, I already changed it to 0.3, so that's what I'm going to click on. Okay. Okay, so I got it 192.168.1.3. Remember, same password, UBNT, copy, paste. We're in. Now, first of all, again, do the same thing. Go into wireless. Well, what will happen is go into wireless, and put this as a station. So it's really a receiver here, okay? It's not sending out an internet signal, it's receiving it, all right? So as a station mode, and the other thing that you're going to do is 20 megahertz, okay? Make sure you set this as 20. Now go to network, network mode, bridge. Let's set the static IP, okay? Don't set the automatic, static. What we're going to do is IP address, we're going to set this as 192.168.1.3 instead of the default 0.1.20. Again, let's take a look at the diagram. 0.2 is communicating with this one we're setting as 0.3, okay? So we're a little bit clear on this. Net mask, same. Your gateway IP. Well, your gateway IP, remember, it's coming from your router. So set it as 192.168.1.1. And your primary DNS IP, which is, it's asking where's the internet coming from. So set it the same thing. Your router, the one that's sending the internet to this access point, okay? Once you got that done, you can click change and then click apply. The other thing you're going to want to change here is go into here, AirMax settings, and make sure AirMax is off. It's not going to work with AirMax, okay? So anything AirMax, AirView, turn it off. Here, apparently, if you launch it as a station, you don't have those options. Make sure this is none. This, I don't know, might be different. Okay, so once you got that done, bam. What'll work now is if you take the Ethernet port running from your second Nanostation and you plug it into your computer, you will see communication. You should. Your computer will pick up the signal, and by LAN, the internet should work. Okay, so now let's go to the router, the second router, okay? This is my second router that's connected to the Nano port. I connected. Now, I haven't connected the second router yet. What I'm going to do is connect this second router right over here, and I'm going to connect it to my computer by Ethernet cable. Remember, I mentioned the same thing. You want to connect it in with these LAN ports and then to your computer. And type in the IP address. Yours might be different than mine. So just do a Google search. Point 1. Okay. Now I have Tomato firmware running on my router, the second router, because it gives me a little bit more options of how I can do things. So if you want to Google Tomato, the DD-WRT, those are two optional firmwares that go for some routers. Now, what did I do here? The biggest thing that got me before that I was mistaken on. Let me show you. In my LAN and WAN configurations, put the WAN as DCHP. LAN, the router IP address must be different than everything else. Look, we had 192.168, 192.168. This one has to be different, so I put 192.167 in order for it to communicate with these routers. It must be different, the second router. Must be different than the first router. Must be. So what I did was router IP 192.167.1.1. Subnet mask, that's going to stay the same. Make sure you activate the DHCP server. And also for the IP range, what you want to do is use this 0.1, but don't put 0.1 because it's taken. So these are the people that will be connected to your router. I put 0.100 up to 192.167.1.149. So they're going to be same like this, except for the last, after the last decimal point, these numbers are going to change to a range, okay? And now you can activate wireless. Wireless mode is access point, whatever. And let me put the first page in, and it should catch it. Now what you can do is go ahead and log into your wireless on the second router, and bam, you should have it. You'll see your speeds will half, and that's because you're running into a bridge network. But the speed should still be really, really good, okay? So, yep, that's how I connected it. If you need any help, just go online, and I'll attach this document to the video as well. I haven't mentioned the document. This document right here, this is what really, really helped me. This whole how to set up a bridge document, I'll attach this. It's really good. Maybe you can find it online yourself as well. All right. Thanks.